Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to remove a broken shift cable from inside your Campagnolo Chorus 12-speed shifters. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. So we have the Chorus 12-speed shifter. Now what will happen is over time you notice your shifting goes out, over time it goes bad, and say your cable looks really good at your derailleur end, and then you go to adjust your barrel adjuster thinking that cable stretched a bit because your gears aren't perfect anymore, and then the barrel adjuster, you could wind it all the way out and nothing will happen, it'd still be just as bad. And like I said, the cable looks good at your derailleur end or anywhere else you can see on the bike if it isn't internally routed all the way. So what it is inside the shifter itself, because when you shift up and down all the time, especially for the rear derailleur, you're doing a lot of shifting, over time the cable, because it kinks round inside the housing, it starts to fray in there, so it'll end up getting kinked round like that, and then it'll start to fray like that up inside the shifter itself. That's what happens if you're shifting up and down enough. So to get at the cable, what you'll have to do first of all is, if the shifter's mounted on the handlebar, first of all what you want to do is pull back your hood and pull it over the shift lever on the side. So if you put it over that and get it out of the way, if you look just down in there, you'll see, I'll pull that back enough there, you'll see just in that gap there, you see that's where the cable will run. Now depending on what position it started to fray, and sometimes it can get jammed up in there so you can't shift. You're wondering what's happened because all the frayed pieces of cable have got stuck in there, and as it's trying to go round it's all getting jammed by all the frayed bits of cable everywhere in there. So you might be able to see it in that gap in there, but you won't be able to get it out of there. So the best way to do it is, what you got to do is pull back the front of your hood like that, and then down inside, if you pull it back far enough, down inside just there, that's a T25 Torx bit, so you just get on there like that, and then if you undo that all the way out anti-clockwise, just to undo it, when you've undone it enough, what will happen is the shifter will come off of the clamp, so your clamp will still be on your bar like that. Obviously you've got your handlebars wrapped in tape, bar tape, so that shifter will just come off of there ever so slightly. So to make it come off enough to get at the actual cable, what you need to do is make sure you've disconnected obviously your cable from your rear derailleur to allow the slack to come through, and then if you pull back the hood like that, say you got it like that and you've undone it and it's just come off a little bit, it's loose, then what you need to do is just hook the cable where you can see it here, just get that cable and get it up out of there by just hooking onto that, then get that cable up and then snip it off there. So you just snip it with the tail sticking up there, just snip that, and then that'll be that one loose, and then you've got your brake coming out of in here. So because this is mechanical brake, the cable will be coming out of there with the housing obviously going underneath your bar tape here. So what you need to do is go to your caliper and then undo your caliper, so as if you was going to drop your wheel out of the bike. So on the side of the caliper, just move the arm and it'll loosen it off, so you could drop your wheel out if you had a puncture, say. So undo that, and then what you want to do is to get enough slack so as the shifter comes away enough. Obviously that you might not get enough slack doing that to be able to get in there. So what you need to do is just undo the bolt, the clamp, the 5mm nut on the side of your brake caliper, or whatever brake caliper you've got on there. Just undo that nut completely out, so the cable goes slack. It's still at the end stop on the cable, but that'll go back far enough then, when you've removed the bolt completely, you have enough slack then to pull that away enough so the clamp's still on the bar, and it will just pull away. Then once you got it away from the handlebar enough, without you don't have to disturb your bar tape to do it, depending on how your bar tape's wrapped around there. If it's wrapped too much over it, then you might have to just disturb it a little bit just to get the shifter to come off away from your tape. Then what you want to do is, when you got it away like that, inside here, you see down just here inside it, that's where the shifter mechanism goes. So when you shift across the rear cassette, so you're going up the rear cassette to the largest sprocket on the rear, it goes round, and the cable moves round in there as that goes across. As you can see, so as it goes right over, it just kinks the cable round inside. You can see the cable in there, it's just going round that way. And then when you shift back down on there, on the side, it just goes back the other way, like that. So depending on where yours is in there, obviously it could have broken, or it could have nearly frayed in any position in there, just depends. So what you need to do is get a T15 Torx bit, and then in the middle there, if you undo that out of there, there's a little washer underneath it, so just be careful of that. If you've got a magnetic bit on there on the end, just be careful to pick up the washer as well. It's on the end of it, little washer on there like that, just put that safe with the bolt. And then the black plastic bit in there that's inside, say you had all your cable frayed up in there, what you need to do is just flick that black plastic piece out of there. So if you get a small screwdriver, flat blade screwdriver, or a couple of them even, you can go in through the hole where the cable would be put in when you're putting a new one in, through the bottom, and you can get onto that black plastic piece like that. So with this cable snipped up here like earlier, then that just helps it make it easier to remove it. So all you got to do is get underneath it and flick it up like that to get it to move enough, so as it comes up out of there. There's another hole you can go through just on the side there as well. You can get 2 screwdrivers in if you want to go through that one and the other one at the same time. You can go in through there and through the bottom there as well a little bit if you want to, just to flick it up enough so it comes off the peg in the middle like that. Obviously all the cable will be all frayed up in there and everything, so it won't be that easy to remove out because you've got a load of frayed cable in there, say, and the cable is still is holding it in position. That's why you've got to cut the cable up here just to allow enough so as it will come up out. So just flick that up out of there, get it so you can get hold of it. I say it won't come out very easily because you've got the cable, you'll have the cable still attached to it, so it's tricky to get it to come up out. Once you get it like that, the cable will still be on it. Like I said, if you cut it up here, then as soon as you flick it up like that, you'll just be able to pull on it, and obviously the cable will only be about this long, so it'll just come off like that. And there's the cable in the centre. Just be careful down in there, there is a bigger washer around the outside of that, so make sure that's still in place around it in there. So we got that off like that, and you can obviously pull your cable out of it. So once you remove your cable out of the plastic piece, then you can go and put it back on. Just make sure your bigger washer's underneath it, and then it goes on. Obviously it's got a hole in the bottom of it there where your cable will go up, the end of your cable goes in there, so that's the position it goes back on, so as you can route a new cable through. So make sure you shifted, it's in the right place, so you can put it back on like that. So if you shift down all the way and then when you put it back on like that, then the cable hole will line up where you put the cable through there, and it'll be going straight up into it, as it would do when you're sliding the cable through. So make sure you shift it down when you put it back on, just in case it wasn't set like that when you took it off. So when you shifted it, just put it on like that in the middle. It's got a square in the middle so you can't get it in the wrong place. And then what you want to do to put the bolt back in the middle, you drop that in there. Then to tighten it up so it doesn't ratchet round when you're tightening it, you just hold down the shift lever on the side there like that, and then do it up. That way it stops it going round on the ratchet and being in the wrong place. So you tighten that down just until it stops like that, snip it up, and that's it there. Then when you shift, so you can shift up like that, make sure it's moving round as it should do, like that, then you shift back down like that, and then you can go ahead and just put your new cable straight up through like that, and then it come out there again. Just pull it all the way through, make sure the stop's gone up inside as it should be. And then when you want to put it back on, the clamp's already on the handlebar, so you just put that back on there, then do up your T25 Torx bit there, holding it on to your clamp, and then reattach your brake cable. And that's the only way to get at the actual frayed cable, is like that, removing it to get at it. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe, and I'll see you then.